Alright, let's see how this goes. Music. Alright, so I'm going to be going over a tier list of just how I feel the class and, well, more specifically, the spec trees for each individual spec are going to be in Dragonflight. Looking at the 30 points instead of 31 when you reach level 70, I feel like they should have something at level 70 to make up for that point loss. Although, looking at it, it could be fine just because most classes already get 2 keystones, and the ones that don't have a bunch of talents that make up for it. I feel like for Hunter, for instance, although I'm not going to rate it very highly, just based off of the options you're getting Razor Fragments, you're getting Surging Shots or Lethal Shots. I prefer Surging Shots. You're getting Double Tap, you're getting Lock and Load. You're getting the Wailing Arrow legendary effect from the bow. You're getting the Serpent Stalker's Trickery effect from the bow. So I need to add my webcam. Okay, we'll remove that. I wanted to add. It's fine for now. Size that down so I'm not too big. I'll make it a little bigger. So I'm starting with Marksman Hunter. I'm not going to go over the class tree too much, although there is a decent amount of choice in here. Giving Hunter in general explosive shot across all 3 specs seems pretty strong. Stampede and Death Chakram. How you go down the tree is obviously going to alter playstyle. I think survival of the fittest and it not being tied to your pet is actually pretty strong, I feel like. Although, I don't know, there's a bunch of stuff there, and I'll go over that in a separate video stream. But right now we're looking specifically at classes. I feel like this is the de facto single target build for hunters right now. A lot of these don't seem like their choice, or they just don't seem ultra powerful. Like calling the shots, pretty much ending when true shot ends, isn't seeming to be too strong. This increasing it by 0.0 seconds or 0.1 seconds, I feel like it'll be 1 to 2 seconds. Similar to the Fire Mage Combustion one. Overall, I'm going to rank the Hunter one, starting with Marksman. I'm going to say it's salvageable. It's really, I wouldn't say it's good. I wouldn't say it's bad. It'll definitely be playable in raid. It's not going to be like one of the other classes that I'll get into later. But it's not like Fire Mage. It's not like Shadow Priest where it seems like really strong, and it really doesn't seem like it at all synergizes with the class tree. And there's really not much in terms of it being up to snuff with how Marksman was in like 9.0, 9.0.5, even after the nerfs that it received to Wild Spirits, which is the only thing that really made the class strong. And so they're going to either have to change the positioning of some of these talents, or just realign the tree a little bit. Uh, Maybe take some of the 2.0s, make them into a 1 point. Because right now BM Hunter and Marksmanship Hunter seem like the only class really that don't get to get two keystones that are like super powerful. But it's kind of made up for with the early strength of the tree. Um, Especially since you're also getting surging shots or lethal shots. And lethal shots is, I'm not going to say it's strong, but surging shots is quite powerful. Albeit a bit clunky. But this could very well turn out to be really strong if they change like one or two things, just minor tweaks. BM Hunter, I mean, you don't have to take multi-shot over Shipper and Cleave. This one, I feel like it has the potential to be really strong. But right now, for a purely single target, there's a bunch of points you have to take that are mandated. And then you don't have much choice left to you. And then, obviously, to get multi-shot and beast cleave, you have to give up one with the pack or in for the kill, which I don't know why I put in for the kill on there. I didn't mean to do that. And that's even without taking killer command, which is really powerful. Then you get like Call of the Wild, which is like a stampede, 3-minute cooldown, which I feel like makes up for it in a little bit. Um, I would also put BM Hunter in salvageable, where it could do well. We would have to wait and see for Sims. Obviously, BM Hunter is a class that scales exponentially with crit and haste, and then it reaches a plateau where it falls off with its scaling. Sorry, I'm a little nasally right now. I woke up 30 minutes ago. I wanted to do this last night. Didn't get the chance. Arcane Mage, I don't really like this. It really doesn't seem strong. It feels like you're required to take certain talents that you otherwise wouldn't. Just to get like the mobility back of the class. which never feels good. I've gone over these pretty extensively looking at the different builds for like M plus and AoE, although right now this is specifically for raid, which I will be posting in the video to be uploaded to YouTube. Also, you're gonna lose a bunch of mana regen that you had in the past. That's not it. Arcane Echoes, I mean, it's fine. Um, yeah, Harmony is what I was supposed to get. And then this, I mean, you're gonna have a ton of damage for your Radiant Spark. You'll use your Arcane Surge at the end of it, every minute and a half with your Arcane Power instead of using a. Well, you would still barrage at the end with it, with your Max X Harmony. But instead of casting um, Arcane Blast and Arcane Barrage, you would be casting Arcane Surge and Arcane Barrage. And then you also get your Execute on your Arcane Barrage, which is huge, meaning when you're coming out into a burst pack, Arcane very well could have the best of the executes in the entire game, just because you're getting 100% increased Arcane Barrage damage against that as well 35%. On top of the stacking increase on Arcane Harmony, which is now 20 stacks instead of the 18 it was. I'd have to do the. I feel like that's just a DPS loss because you're sure you get 2 more stacks, but it's 3% less damage per stack. But it is a keystone now, and it is not a legendary. Harmonic Echoes, I feel like that really never has a place in most builds. It could. I don't know what you would get rid of for it. Maybe Enlightened. But that just doesn't seem too strong. I mean, it's decent, but it just doesn't seem all too strong. Because, like, Enlightened. With this tree currently, outside of Arcane Surge, granting you mana regen, which kind of replaces the need for evocation. Although I'd rather have Siphon Storm, that seems way stronger. Uh, although the playstyle for Siphon Storm is super weird and quite a cluster, so I don't know if it will make it because it's a rather cumbersome build where you would like precast evocation into your harmony. Yeah, I'll just leave it there just because it lasts 30 seconds. That's quite a big change from how it was in the current patch. I'll put Arcane Mage in B tier. It seems like it has the potential to be really strong, and you're not losing too much. You're pretty much only gaining, even from just the talent choices and the legendary choice and the combo choice. From Dragonflight, I'm going to go over the mage specific build for Arcane, Fire, and Frost because the mage tree is. I'm going to say it's decent. It's not super strong, it's not super weak. I'm mainly waiting on this not yet implemented talent, which should be one for Fire and Frost, which will make a huge impact on how the specs individually play. Although even without it, Mage Tree is looking quite strong, just because of the amount of stuff you gain baseline. You'll be getting Time Anomaly or Temporal Warp and Shifting Power, which is quite huge along with all the other stuff that you're getting to keep, especially the inclusion of Mass Polymorph that allows for some insane pulls in the Mythic Plus category. Onto Fire. Fire is my favorite mage spec. So you have to take all of those, ironically, otherwise you can't go any further. And Fervent Flickering, that's actually really strong, so I'll take that. From the Ashes. Firemind, that actually seems really strong. Flame Mountain is a must. Cauterize. I don't like Cauterize being here behind Combustion. If anything, it should branch off of Combustion. You have to take that to get Sun Kings, which I do not like. And then, what was it? Oh yeah, Kindling, that's what it was. Wildfire seems like it has potential to be really strong in Mythic Plus, or if you just want to buff other classes. But outside of that, it does not seem strong. So with Fire Mage, I actually just do the full tree for Fire Mage right now. What else was it? Just because those are 1 point haste and crit increase. Crit's quite valuable for Sun King's Blessing. Haste is obviously always super valuable as a Fire Mage. How many do I need? I need what? Okay, I have 3 more points. Cryo Freeze. I went over these yesterday. I'm just waking up, so I forgot the build I was going for. Um, and at one point, usually it. I mean, we're just leaving Shatter here just because there's a placeholder talent, and I hope that it's relative to Shatter for Fire and Arcane. That'd be quite big, actually. Although we'll see what it is when it comes out, and whether it's actually useful or not. I mean, this is kind of a throwaway point. It doesn't really matter where you put it, so I'll put it on Trans Barriers. Oh wait, never mind. It's only melee attacks. I thought it was damage taken. I'll put it in spell seal for now. Unfortunately, you have to take that to get shifting power. Fire Mage and Frost Mage are getting greater invisibility, which I think is pretty big. There's not really anything else here that's like die for. I think that's actually pretty strong. Reflection is a second time warp weaker. I wouldn't take it. I would take a point in something else earlier in the tree that's not yet implemented. I don't know if that's going to be one of the you choose between two, or if it's just going to be a one node. Hopefully there's some choice there. And then you can do Energized Berry, or you can take 2% reduced damage, magic damage, reduce cooldown, Ice Nova. Pretty much that one point is just gonna go towards whatever, unless this right here becomes something of noteworthy for Fire Mage. But with that, you get Time Anomaly, Temporal Wisp. Oh wait, could I? Oh yeah, wait, no, I didn't spend that point. If you take Reflection, that gives Mage a little too much mobility. But Mage has already had insane mobility, and since we're losing the Night Fae ability, Slow Shape, it might be needed in the upcoming raid, especially given that Shifting Power isn't reducing the cooldown of abilities for nearly as long. Although Meteor might turn out to be stronger than Single Target, just because you're getting Dragon's Breath, which I'm gonna say, based off my opinion, it's not unless Meteor gets like a huge increase in damage done. Which, I mean, that looks pretty good. 260% of spell power. And then it leaves the burn on the ground. Which is huge for fire, by the way. Shifting power is a little better, I'd say, if it's tuned decently. 12 seconds is quite big. The baseline for the Night Fae ability Soul Shape right now is 10 seconds, and then it only gets increased by the Conduit, maxing out, I believe, at 18.8 seconds reduced cooldown overall. So baseline, that is power increase. And then with that, you're getting Sun King's Blessing and Kindling, which will be insane. And Pyroclasm from the Ashes. So Fire Mage, I have to say, is going to be the first S tier based off my opinion. We'll go into Arcane. Wait, did I do Arcane? I already did Arcane. Frost. It seems like Frost is going to be decently strong. Although I don't like Cold Snap being behind Blizzard. That seems kind of weird to me. How many am I off? I have 4 points. Yeah, that's why you take Cold Snap. Again, only winter. Okay, now that's to go there. Freezing winds, suck ice. I feel like that's gonna obviously depend on whether you're like two target mass AoE or your single target. This is a raid for the most part. We're gonna go suck ice, and then that leaves you a point for, I believe, Ray of Frost would be good. Freezing rain, really good Mythic Plus or an any encounter whether it's going to be AoE. Ray of Frost being really good in Mythic Plus with Thermal Void and Slick Ice and Icy Propulsion. Although Icy Propulsion won't be as strong as it is in Shadowlands. And I don't see the duration increase on here. Oh wait, never mind, that's Thermal Void. So you will get it to some degree. It'll last for 26 seconds baseline instead of 30. Oh wait, no, 36. So it will last slightly longer. Sorry, I just woke up. Frost, I'm going to say, is going to be A tier, based off my play of the 3 mage specs. Shadow, I'm just gonna do this first. I feel like Shadow getting Angelic Feather is quite big. Unfortunately, you have to point a point there to get further into the tree, as well as Dispel Magic for Purify Disease to get improved. Well, you go Dispel Magic just to get improved Mind Blast. One thing for priests is they're getting Twins of the Sun Priestess. Pretty much baseline. And then you grab both capstones down here just because there's really nothing else to grab. That leaves you 1 point to throw into Taming the Shadows, or Mind Control, Leap of Faith, Shackle Undead, Clear Mind. Clear Mind's irrelevant, you never take it, except for maybe in PvP. Purify Disease can work. I would just say the baseline one for like a regular boss fight is going to be Shadow Mend. Has a chance to deal no damage. You have to take these 3, and that's... yeah. What sucks about Shadow Priest really is that you're going to lose your dispersion in most builds unless you really, really need it, as well as Vampiric Embrace. There's just nothing really to go for after it. It doesn't branch down into anything else. Although you could skip Unfurling Darkness and Nightmare Misery. The big one for me is you're getting Hungering Void and Ancient Madness. How many points do I have left? 4. Oh, can't forget that. That's why you don't take Damnation. Oh, you can. Damnation's not bad. I wouldn't say it's good either, but it's not bad. Oh wait. I mean, that's gonna be close. I like the consistent damage of fire more. Okay, that's why I didn't do wire. So this, you're getting Twins of the Flame Priestess, or Twins of the Sun Priestess baseline, just to get Mind Games, which is pretty big. Utility, you get Mind Restrain, which is usually disc only. Getting Shadow Flame Prism. So pretty much you're just getting a bunch of stuff that was either a legendary or a Covenant baseline, pretty much de facto, unless you need something like Leap of Faith or something else, which, I mean, you could take out Taming Shadows and get one of the other mid-tiers over here that you've unlocked. Nothing else will really affect it. Everything else is pretty much set in stone. What you have to take is a Shadow Priest. And then Living Shadow with Idolic Intuition seems really strong. Based off the tuning of how Living Shadow works, the cooldown on it, and how that plays in. We'll see. It seems really strong how it is now. I'm looking at Priest being low S, high A. So we'll put it in A tier next to Frost Mage. Well, I'll put it in S tier for now, just because Living Shadow with Idolic and then Idol of Cocoon look really strong, especially given that you're getting Ancient Madness and Hungering Void. Although, the loss of some of the abilities, like if you ever have to take Searing Nightmare or Misery, you lose Dispersion, which does not feel good. And then you just lose out on your Vampiric Embrace, just because there's nothing strong behind it. And then, in and of itself, uh, you gotta go out of your way to get it. Quite out of your way to appoint in Psychic Voice and Mind Bomb. It's almost never useful in Raid. And I'd much rather have Dispersion as a priest than Raid cooldown, party cooldown. That I'd say it doesn't do as much healing since it's not healing party wide. It's only 50% of your damage to a party member instead of being spread out to a number of players at like 25 or even 20%. LA Shaman, I'm not gonna go into their clash tree. It feels like there's really only one way to really go. But I won't get into that. It's just early in the morning, and I feel like it's gonna really depend on what content you're doing. No, obviously for shaman, you're not really gaining anything. Elemental Fury being on here, especially quite early on, really seems good. One thing I will say is that later on you will be getting a bunch of stuff to make your mastery actually better. Oh wait, I gotta take that first. I hate this. Neither of these are good, but Primordial Bond is better since you should never have to heal yourself in PvE content. Wind Shear granting 8 Maelstrom during combat seems strong. Healing Stream Totem granting 8 Maelstrom seems quite strong. Obviously you want Stormkeeper. Stormkeeper is a big improvement. That really seems like it would be good because casting Lightning Bolt at your main filler spell. Ice Fury seems really situational. Aftershock versus Surge of Power, I feel like Surge of Power is always the go-to for there. Primal Elementalist seems like a must. Deeply Rooted Elements and Ascendance. I feel like Ascendance is just a better setup for the build, although that depends on the proc chance because it's not showing the proc chance for Lightning Bolt right now, or Lava Burst, or whatever it's going to be for Elemental to gain Ascendance for 6 seconds. Also because that allows you to gain additional haste, and usually you don't like haste. Earth Shock and Elemental Blast being able to trigger your mastery. That seems like it's quite huge, although Earth Shock, to my knowledge, currently benefits from mastery, so losing that baseline's kinda weird to me. Rolling Magma Rolling Magma and Primordial Wave seems like it could be really good on a spread creep fight. Although, as far as I know, Flame Shock will not be able to spread to targets, so it doesn't seem like it'll have a place in rating. With this, you're losing out on like flow power, which will reduce your Maelstrom, but you can't really pass on Lava Surge or Stormkeeper, meaning you have to take Call of Thunder. Because neither of those are really good. Elemental Blast, can't pass that up. Elemental Equilibrium, really good. Although being a 2-point node, there might be a 1-point node where like Ice Fury with Electrified Shocks seems decent. Although Elemental Equilibrium, if you're used to playing with it, I feel like it'll be better than Ice Fury with Electrified Shocks, just because it buffs your whole kit. Although 10 seconds, I feel like they should make it 15. So I'm going to put Ellie Shaman in the B tier above Arcane Mage. Going into a warlock. I'm starting with Affliction. This is my favorite spec of the three. To a degree, Soul Swap being brought back. I wish it was brought back in a better state instead of just applying your dots. Um, it doesn't even apply anything that costs a soul shard. It's instant though, so it could kind of make up for it. But UA, it's limited to one target unless they change that. I have to look when beta comes. You never take that unless you need the healing. I feel like you take that just to get to there. And we'll just take inevitable. And no, not yet. Just because Phantom Singularity is so good. Grimoire Sacrifice, I feel like is going to be strong for Affliction. Okay, yeah, we'll take Inevitable Demise because there's 4 points left, which allows us to take Withering Bolt. Haunt, always. Now, one thing I don't like here is that Haunted Souls is not locked in like a 1-point talent. Soul Rot is amazing. And it gets a reduced cooldown from your Unstable Affliction, which seems really strong. It procs quite consistently, and it should always be up. Summon Dark Lair and Wilfred Summoning seem like they're a must. Haunt, 10% damage increase. I don't know what you get rid of. Maybe, well, no, you can't get rid of Decay. Well, you could. Yeah. So I feel like this will be the final build. Some of the stuff's locked behind some really weird stuff. Obviously, in AoE, you have to go down a different path, but this is raid specifically what I am rating this for. You don't really gain anything new. And then, like, Haunt. Haunt should just be a 1-point talent that gives you Seize Vitality. Well, no, it's a damage increase instead of the amplification. I thought it was the amplification. But it allows you to take that. That is really weird, Calamitous Crescendo, where your dots have 30% chance to make your rapture. Just the wording on it is really weird. But that is nonetheless really strong. I feel like this is going to be the build in most cases, although in the cleave target situation, you might get rid of like Creeping Death. For decaying. Obviously you have to get rid of something for decaying. Soul Satchel, the Night Fae Legendary for Warlocks. But nonetheless, this seems like the build for Raid. I'm gonna put Affliction warlock. Above Frost Mage, just because of everything that you gain, and you know it being like a clear-cut choice of like what you need, all lining up together to go further down the row towards stuff that you want, minus like Ride and Agony and Phantom Singularity being out of the way, but that'll unlock you Soul Rot and Soul Eater's Gluttony. Demonology. So at first I didn't like Demonology's choices, but I will say it's grown on me. Also the bringing back of Doom. It seems potentially really strong because it's passive charge generation, which the class lacks. Damn, I lost my drink. Oh, I found it. I really should blow my nose. But you're getting Grimoire Felguard and you're getting Vile Fiend on the same row. I mean, in the same build with Demonic Strength, and eventually you'll get Nether Portal. That Dreadstalker summoning another Dreadstalker is really strong. Doom dealing increased damage based off of your demon summoned is going to be pretty big. I don't know if it's worth losing the extra Dreadstalker because of how Tyrant works. Another portal, granting a Pit Lord at the end seems really strong. And then you get Wolfred's back. That leaves me 3 points. Da da da. And then getting your Wild Imps to grant your other demons 10% damage seems really strong. I don't think there is another way that this could be built. Demonology I was going to originally put in the needs fixing, not finalized, slash do not play category, but I'm going to put it above Affliction in A tier. Destruction Warlock. This is one that I thought originally was going to be good. Although it seems like they're more so moving towards Havoc being more based around like your Conflag and Immolate and Incinerate more than it being about your big Chaos bolts. Oh, Backlash is one. Uh, well, being able to get Fire and Brimstone as a talent choice with 2 points rather than being tied to Immolate seems really strong, especially since it's not like something you're giving up too much for. You do have to go a little out of your way to get Immolate's improved duration, although I feel like that could be really strong. Uh, you're losing at rate of fire and single target and cleave, but I feel like it's made up for if you go Cry of Havoc or Pandemonium. Soulfire seems really strong. Rolling Havoc, bring Bora back is huge. Flashpoint seems big. And then you get Eradication. I have 2 points left over. And Ashen Remains just seems to be the strongest thing in the row. Backlash seems strong with 3% crit to give you the extra soul generation. But it does not seem strong enough to take over something else. Oh, I hate this. Now, Chaos Incinerate, it reduces the RNG, which I like personally. Although Dimensional Rift can also seem really strong. It doesn't have the numbers or anything tied to it, so I'm just going with Chaos Incarnate. That's me with 3 points. And Madness of Azukir. That really plays into the Rolling Havoc Flashpoint style setup. I feel like this is going to be a really strong Mythic Plus spec, like it is now. Although I think with Madness of Akir as Akir, Chaos Incarnate, Wilfred's, getting back Crash and Chaos, except for without the buff to the damage it does, as well as Soulfire, Roaring Blaze, or Improvement Flag. I prefer Roaring Blaze, but since this is a build based more around Chaos Bolt, the Improvement Flag seems to be stronger. There's not much you're missing out on here. Channel Demon Fire, Shadowburn, really situational and niche. Everything else you're missing out on is pretty much just buffing your AoE and really not that much rating. So I'm going to put it above the other two specs, and I will put it the lowest of S tier. Is that all the range specs, really? Oh, Balance Druid. Yeah, so just Balance Druid. This spec obviously I have to take Moon Conform. That is non-negotiable. Nurturing Instinct is a must. Unfortunately, you have to put a single point Rejuve. But now you get Force of Nature and Nature's Balance right away, which is amazing. I don't like Starfall and Improved Star Surge being bound to each other. Or that shooting stars locks out Star-Lord, so it's required. Damn. I really like the power of Gold Rin. And Starfall now increasing the duration of your dots seems pretty good in AoE. Although, I feel like it should say more Permanent Fire. How many more points do I have? 5. So you could get New Moon. New Moon seems like it'll be quite strong. Convoke the Spirits, though, being 3 points, seems quite strong, and then that lets you take 2 points in Solstice. But, on the other hand, you can take this, skip Convoke, although I don't think you really ever would, to get Primordial Arcanic Pulsar, which obviously with Balance of All Things works really well. So there's some choice here between Convoke and playing a more traditional Balance Druid style that's not revolving around the others. Although losing Incarnation or Convoke and not being able to have the two together seems like it makes not too good. Although what you can do, on the other hand, remove Balance of All Things and bring in the Convoke the Spirits. That way you have Pulsar, and although for that you would get rid of Circle of Life and Death and obviously take Orbit Breaker and Appointed Soul of the Forest. So Balanced Druid, I will rate it. I'm gonna put it the highest of the B tier for specs. Hunter needs fixing. Uh, I'll put in salvageable because it's not like make or break. Uh, those two are pretty close. Interchangeable in raid. Although I feel like Marksman has a slightly better tuning. So this is what I'm looking at being strong going into Shadowlands and what I am prepared to have ready. Shadow Priest, Fire Mage, and Warlock are going to be my 3 main DPS as of right now. And that is what I hope you guys are looking at. Right now, those are what I'd be prepping. Although obviously they're going to fix Hunter, there's no way they're going to leave Hunter in the state that it is, especially with how they've been the last 3 tiers. Only being really seen in Nathria before the nerf, then falling off immediately once they got nerfed. And then they were in for Sylvanas, kinda. Roger Brown was only in because he had the legendary bow. I don't. Yeah, it was 233, so it was named 246. If they would have been able to funnel it 246, that would have been huge. Although obviously there's a lot of problems around that when you have to funnel like a specific bow into one person across like 30 hunters. So you'd have to like funnel that looks so bad. I'm so sorry. Damn. Yeah, I need to blow my nose. But obviously, you would have to go through. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop recording.